The red light above my door blinked furiously, a silent scream of chaos as I stared at the chaos unfolding outside. Linda Marshall, HOA president, stood clutching her yapping terrier, Rusty, like it was a badge of authority. She'd just set off a classified military alert, all because she thought my glowing address plaque was too shiny. Now, the Pentagon had flagged my home as a potential cyber-attack target, and in 28 minutes, a Department of Defense drone would be circling my lawn. Linda, oblivious to the storm she'd unleashed, had no idea my high-tech security was tied to a top-secret defense project. I'd retired to this upscale neighborhood to escape the high-stakes world of AI defense systems, not to start a federal crisis. After 30 years building cutting-edge tech, the government had coaxed me into one last job: test a smart home defense system with biometric scanners and encrypted links to national security networks. My orders were simple: live quietly, log incidents, and keep civilians out. Easy, right? Then Linda showed up. 6 months after I moved in, Linda seized HOA control, launching her reign of petty tyranny. She fined a neighbor for a too tall rosebush and sent warnings about unapproved mailbox decals. My facial recognition gate and glowing sign drove her wild. She called them unpatriotic and yelled across the street, "This isn't a sci-fi movie." The irony was rich. She'd have fainted if she knew my setup wasn't a game. Trouble started when I installed the biometric panel by my gate, a sleek black unit with a warning, "Defense monitoring active. Unauthorized access triggers federal alert." To Linda, it was a challenge. One Saturday, in a visor and an HOA equals harmony shirt, she stormed over, Rusty in tow, and backed about violating Regulation 3.2.1, subsection C. I warned her the system was real and tied to federal protocols. She laughed, "Sure, and I'm the first lady. Your geek toys don't scare me." I didn't argue. People like Linda don't hear reason. I waited for consequences to teach her. They came fast. Sunday morning, my phone pinged while I was making coffee, a fingerprint rejection alert. Security footage showed Linda jabbing the scanner with her nail, then smacking the gate with her clipboard, Rusty yipping. I logged it, expecting a minor warning. That night, another alert woke me, a pulsing red light and a robotic voice, "Zone breach. Tampering detected." Linda was back, poking the panel with a flashlight and gloves, pressing the override too long. The system locked down and sent a level 3 alert to the Pentagon, flagging my home as a potential espionage target. Somewhere, analysts were now eyeing my property on a map. By morning, a neighbor, Sarah, whispered, "Why were black SUVs parked across from you last night?" I shrugged, "Probably lost tourist." She wasn't buying it. Linda strutted the neighborhood, oblivious that the SUVs were watching her. Her face was now in a federal database, cross-reference for threats. She had no criminal record, just a history of noise complaints and an odd obsession with orderly lawns. That evening, my old contact, Colonel Hayes, messaged, "Confirm civilian status of breach party." I replied, "Just an overzealous HOA president, Linda Marshall." His response, "Keep the system armed. We are monitoring." Tuesday afternoon, Linda escalated. Dressed in a safety vest and sunglasses, she marched to my gate with a voltage tester, announcing, "Time to fix this eyesore." When she zapped the panel, it triggered a phase 2 alert, rerouting a DoD drone for surveillance. Linda, yelling about community standards, had no clue she was now a national security incident. I watched from my living room, eating popcorn, knowing she was about to crash hard. The next 24 hours were deceptively calm. The neighborhood felt like it was holding its breath. Linda, unaware she was a federal target, organized a compliance walk, inspecting homes for violations. By noon, Sarah brought me coffee and gossip. Linda was at house 7, clipboard out, sunglasses up, like a general on parade. It wasn't just a work, it was a vendetta against me. At 2:17 p.m., she hit my gate again, now in a tactical vest with HOA field ops patches and a GoPro streaming to her HOA group. Rusty panted as she waved her voltage tester, then pulled out bolt cutters. I activated lockdown mode, heart pounding. Her tools charge flagged as tampering, escalating to phase 3 surveillance real-time military oversight. When she clipped the panel, a low hum pulsed, startling her. The red light blinked, and her face hit 3-thread databases. She screamed into the camera about forced access rights, clueless that General Thompson had just called me, voice scream, she's triggered a trace. Recon teams coming. Don't engage. By morning, 3 SUVs parked across the street, agents in casual gear questioning neighbors. Linda, peeking from her curtains, posted online, unmarked vehicles stalking me. She thought I was running a secret lab, even claiming my green lawn was powered by underground tech. That night, past midnight, my cameras caught her again, using a laser pointer to scan my fence. She was tracked by my system, the agents, a drone, and her own GoPro, now part of a federal fire. At 3 a.m., she pried at a fence panel, triggering silent containment. A high-frequency sound wave disoriented her. She tripped over Rusty's leash into her shrubs. I sent the footage to the Pentagon. Hours later, agents visited Linda for a mitigation assessment. She tried fining them for parking violations, but a federal badge silenced her. They warned her to stop, citing potential charges for interfering with protected infrastructure. The neighborhood turned eerie, with drones buzzing overhead. Linda's HOA statement claimed she'd exposed a rogue operation, but neighbors whispered about her antics. Undeterred, she wore a body cam, narrating my mailbox as encrypted and my sprinklers as coded signals. Saturday morning, she crossed the line. Climbing a trash bin, she hopped my fence with a radio scanner, muttering about quadrant 4. The system locked her in my smart garage, sealing it with a hiss. Her live-streamed panic, "I'm in a bunker," went viral, dubbed Garage Linda. Agents retrieved her, curled under a table, ranting about digital prisons. The clip hit millions, with memes and parodies flooding the internet. Linda leaned into the chaos, calling an HOA meeting to rail against foreign surveillance. Only 4 attended, 2 expecting bingo. Her Comic Sans flyers accused me of psychological warfare. Meanwhile, the Pentagon reviewed her case as a civilian vulnerability. News vans swarmed her lawn, and she posed, claiming to defend suburban freedom. But when pressed for evidence, she waved her clipboard and whispered about tunnels. Her credibility tanked. A congressional hearing followed, where she rambled about lasers and showed a drawing of Rusty in a hazmat suit. The room stifled laughs. One senator asked about aliens. She replied, not directly. She was removed from the HOA, served a restraining order, and became a cautionary tale, "Don't be a Linda." She didn't stop. Linda filed city complaints, calling my property a safety risk. Officials inspected, saw my permits, and left amused. She kept filing, unaware the Pentagon logged every move. Then, a twist, my property was named a designated defense site, complete with a gold trim sign. Linda saw it, frozen, Rusty in her arms, her empire crumbled. Her lights went out early that night. No cameras, no rants. A week later, power outages hit during a storm. At 9:43 p.m., cameras caught Linda, in black, digging at my fence with a spatula, muttering about exposing nodes. She struck the panel with a crowbar, triggering a mild shock. She screamed, crawled away, and I reported it as sabotage. Federal vehicles arrived, taking her for a mental health evaluation. The neighborhood exhaled. A month later, Linda sent an apology. I thought I knew the truth. "I'm sorry." Her house went up for sale, and she left quietly. I planted roses by the sign, now a symbol of my victory. The Pentagon praised the project's success, and I stayed on as a consultant. Linda hadn't just lost to meshed lost to reality, a force that doesn't need to shout to win.